All right, this is Van Hattum reflection number 7. I'm reflecting on the design thinking toolkit. I found this quite interesting, particularly the examples from around the country of how schools were kind of implementing design thinking, really from student-centered learning, investigative learning, setting it up so the students are shapers of knowledge and directing kind of how they create new knowledge. Some critical steps would be interviewing your students, really understanding their interests, their needs, and the example of co-developing curriculum really rang true for me, and I'll close with that with an example in my future teaching. I then went to the State Department of Education's website to look a little bit at the standards and found a video on inquiry-based approach to the standards, the 4 key areas of social studies, those being history, government, econ, and geography. And they define inquiry-based learning as starting by asking questions, thinking critically, solving a problem, and then communicating with other students about how you shaped the problem, how you answered the question or problem. So again, it's really about something that's authentic to the student, and everything builds from there. So it got me thinking as I thought about the social studies field, particularly in my methods class approximately a year ago. Um, it seems wise to me to try to take the huge package of all these seemingly endless standards and get the students to develop a framework of how those pieces fit together, how they actually can be thought of as one domain known as social studies. So, there's the grid of citizenship and government in the left corner, history in one of the other 4 quadrants, economics in the third, and geography in the fourth. And I just did a quick government. I mean, many of these subject areas are about who, but I said government is really the who, because we believe in citizenship, and that's how we change things in the social realm. History is more about the when. Economics, I would say, is the why. Geography is the where. So right there we have sort of a clean way of thinking about all these subjects that aren't just disparate areas of knowledge. I would like to start with my students and try to co-design curriculum around grouping the standards and thinking about some themes that might help us put it all into perspective. So one of the ones that immediately comes to mind to me, might be very different for my students, is power. Power is a huge shaper of history. Power is definitely involved in government and economics. So to ask the question, who has power, why, and kind of how that plays out. And then secondarily, how and when does that change? So then we get into political movements. And then naturally, you're going to be able to incorporate that line of thinking to just about any of the state standards. But again, I would start after kind of trying to summarize in big picture a number of the standards, having my students really share what in the social sciences realm matters to them. And then we could go about the task of saying, is that a political question? Is that an economic question? Is that something we could look at historically? Don't know for sure what they're going to come up with, but I'll just make a prediction that things like race, some cultural elements will likely come up, possibly how their age group fits into larger social structures. But whatever they come up with is the sort of raw material for then connecting that to state standards, and more specifically, detailed standards by different social science domains. So a lot there, but I just want to riff a bit on how I might use this design thinking in my future teaching.